Welcome to the Vote.G question time, and to Kevin Lewis, who is the Connétable candidate for St Saviour. Good evening.
Good evening.
And welcome to you all joining us at home. Please do get your questions in now to the Connétable candidate. You can see your Q&A box on the screen, so get the questions in. You are here to answer the questions. Kevin will have 1 minute to answer each question. They will be timed. Obviously, he's going to have an awful lot fired at him, but we will see what we can do to try and alleviate and give you some breaks in between. Please do keep your questions obviously clean and fair, and we will be covering as many as we can during the session. So let's have a look at it first of all. So first off, you've obviously standing for the first time as Connétable. But how will you make yourself available to parishioners and represent the parish? Obviously, I know you've had the other role in previous times.
Well, I've been a deputy for 17 years for St Saviour, and I've worked with 3 different constables, all with completely different personalities. So I think I've got a good head start there. And should I be elected as constable of St Saviour, I will not be seeking a ministerial role, so I want to concentrate 100% on the parish. I want to bring the parish back together again, because obviously we've had COVID, we've had lots of problems. Obviously, bring the parish back together again. I want more events in the parish, and possibly acquire a minibus, because we've got a bit of north and south separation in the parish of St Saviour. We've got Cyclists, where the Venton Cyclists, where the parish hall is. We've got Petty Longville and Longville further down south of the parish, and obviously Moatfond North, and obviously goes out to all the way up past St Saviour's Hospital, Pino. So we've got quite a large parish. Thank you very much.
Now I'm going to adjust slightly, because sorry for moving, but you're seeing a side of your face. So if you look across me, that's better.
Right.
That's better. Then people can actually see you properly. And if I can see, well, I can't see me now, but that's even better bonus. That's fine. Right. So unfortunately, Dom's just asked a question, but you kind of answered that, because his question was, would you seek a ministerial position again now that you would have Connétable duties if you were to be elected, obviously? And you pretty much answered that.
Yeah. No, I would not be seeking a ministerial role. It's quite intensive, but I want to concentrate 100% on the parish of St Saviour.
Okay. What do you feel are the primary issues within St Saviour that you would like, first of all, to tackle?
Obviously, housing is a major problem, as it is through the rest of the island. We recently had the Bridging Island plan, where I brought a proposition to eliminate 3 fields, but allow building for first-time buyers in 2 other fields. Now, we want to do our bit. We're not being NIMBY, not in our backyard, but we need to provide housing, of course, for our youngsters coming through now. And I say it is a major problem. 5 Oaks is a major choke point, so we have to pick the housing areas very, very carefully.
Okay, thank you. And you've mentioned the 5 Oaks area. Obviously, one of the issues that come up frequently within the parish is the level of traffic on the roads, particularly around the schools area. Is there anything that you feel you would be able to do if you were to get the Connétable role?
Well, I've been working quite a long time now, also with Sadie, previous constable, regarding safer routes to school. And that is something that's ongoing. We've put in sort of virtual pavements in various areas. We have, I think, at 15 or 16 schools in the parish of St Saviour, in and around the parish. So we are taking the brunt of schools. So the morning school trip is pretty horrendous. So we're doing whatever we can to alleviate that, encouraging more people to walk or cycle will be good. But obviously parents feel that it's not safe for their children, so they tend to drive. Improve the bus service for schools. School bus service is excellent, but there's always room for improvement. Plus it's a social thing too. For people coming in from various parts of the island, it's counted as sort of leaving home an hour and maybe hour and a half earlier to get the school buses in, because they may have to change.
Okay.
They come in the car with the parents, and it's like family time.
Thank you very much. Okay. Sorry, we're being strict on the time, even though there's only one candidate, because we've been strict all the way through. So It's only fair to all the candidates. So for those of you at home, get your questions in now to your Connétable candidate, Kevin Lewis. Now, moving on, so one of the other issues, which is obviously affecting a lot of people and a lot of people are concerned about, is the cost of living crisis. Do you feel there's any kind of a role that the parish can play in that?
Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to start beefing up the food banks because people are suffering quite badly. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. The price of fuel is just absolutely horrendous at the moment, but the price of a barrel of oil is pretty static, but the price of fuel has gone through the roof. This is because of all the taxes and whatever in the UK and in Europe, some environmental taxes, that it's cheaper to refine the fuel elsewhere, which often is not, is Russia. And obviously because of the conflict with Ukraine, that's being reduced. So even though a barrel of oil is pretty static, the cost of fuel, petrol and diesel, is going through the roof. If fuel goes up, everything goes up, food, consumables, everything. So we must do whatever we can to keep the cost of fuel down.
Okay, and talking of the cost of fuel, because obviously, and we're talking there about the schools and the issues with traffic. Don was asked a question: will you be looking to improve the regularity of some of the bus routes to outlying areas of the parish? The last bus home from town for him is at 6:30 p.m. in the evening, which is obviously no good if you're going out in the evening. And weekends he has even less choice. So what do you say to that?
It is something that we've been working with Liberty Bus on. Liberty Bus are head and shoulders above most companies. In fact, they've mentioned it in the House of Commons in Westminster as the best way to run a bus company. They quote Liberty Bus in Jersey. There's always room for improvement. Obviously, during COVID, things were very, very restricted. And believe it or not, because of the situation in the world at the moment, when COVID hit, we had about 2 years of stagnation. So some drivers have retired and we haven't had new people coming in because obviously the restrictions on instructors, etc. So there's a Europe-wide shortage, in fact a worldwide shortage, of public service vehicle drivers and heavy goods drivers. So Liberty Bus have got a problem now, and they are actually recruiting if anyone's looking for a job.
Okay, thank you. So any candidates that don't get their chosen roles might want to think about Liberty Bus.
Moving on to us, please. Absolutely.
Okay, so moving on. So please do get your questions in if you're watching at home to Kevin Lewis. Now, obviously, a lot of people will know you because you've been the Deputy of St Saviour. What do you feel you can bring though to this particular role as Connétable? What do you offer?
So I want to be more inclusive. As we've just touched on, the bus service, they have to make money, so they can't run empty buses. The cost of running a bus is not actually the bus, it's the driver. So the size of the bus is not really relevant. It's the driver that costs the money with the training and obviously salaries. But I want to provide a minibus that, if there's a parish meeting, that minibus would run maybe around sort of Longville and up to Mofo, pick people up and have that transport, because otherwise they have to go into town, back out again, and it's quite awkward. But also I want to bring the whole parish together, more parish events. I will be bringing back the Jersey Film Festival next year in Howard Davis Park, St Saviour. So that will be happening next August. And I believe very much in parish events and event-led tourism generally.
Okay, thank you. Do you think that the community facilities within the parish are sufficient, or are there areas that you feel are lacking?
I think the parish hall is possibly underutilised at the moment, but I say we're just coming out of COVID, hopefully. So I'd like to see the parish hall used a lot more, and also maybe we need to have more sort of satellite venues north and south of the parish. But so we had a recent event which was wonderful. His Excellency Lieutenant Governor allowed us to use his grounds for the St Saviour event, but I would like a field that we could acquire. We do have a few fields we could possibly use for parish events. Farmers market would be terrific, and because of the cost of food, that would sort of bring prices down, hopefully, and general events within the parish, bring parishioners together.
Okay, thank you very much. And just a reminder to you at home, you can get your questions in. I know that some people have just joined us, so we are with Kevin Lewis, who is the St Saviour Connétable candidate for the election. Not long to go for the voting, of course. Now, do you agree with the changes to the electoral system? It's something that's come up on a lot of doorsteps, I know, from all the candidates that we've been speaking to. Or will you, if you were elected, go back in and try to change the system?
I voted against losing the senators, which speaks for itself. I think people would like an island-wide vote. And I think the people of Jersey, or St Saviour parishioners and the people of Jersey, would like to have a say in who is going to be chief minister, which would be an island-wide vote. It's always been anticipated in the past that the chief minister would be a senator, whether he or she would be a senator and take the lead role. So the whole island would have an input in that selection.
Okay, yep. And there's one of the other issues that's clearly impacting a lot of people in the island, particularly young people, and causing people to leave the island, is of course the cost of housing. What do you see for St Saviour? Are there any solutions that you see within St Saviour to either encourage more housing or to alleviate the issue of any form?
Well, as I mentioned, we've got to be very careful regarding housing because we're a very high population in St Saviour at the moment. But I've mentioned the fields that I've allowed to go ahead as part of the island plan for first-time buyers. We do need to provide housing for our young people growing up. The cost of housing now is just, it's gone through the roof. Pardon the pun, it's absolutely horrendous. I noticed there was an end of terrace house in the media recently, just went for £1 million. And it's there's no parking. It's 5 bedrooms, which is fair enough. No parking next to a main road. I mean, youngsters just don't stand a chance. Plus, if you're paying best part of £2,000 a month to rent an apartment, like we're paying £1,500, some are paying £1,800. There's no way you can save for a deposit on a house, let alone pay for a house. But it's a very sore point because we've got to break that cycle. And I think possibly we can have. I'm doing show the red card. Okay.
Because, yes. I'll do a whistle in a minute as well if you're not careful. Following on from that, John's listening and he's saying, do you support the idea of using St Saviour's old hospital for housing?
Yes. At the moment, there is a facility next to St Saviour's Hospital that is still in use. So until such times as the new facility across the road is prepared, we can't touch the old St Saviour's Hospital, which I think most people are aware of. It would, if it's sensitively converted, I think it would make excellent apartment blocks there within the structure of the old St Saviour Hospital. I must admit, I've not been in the building for over about 35 years, but it's the building itself is sound. It's semi-derelict at the moment, but the 4 walls are sound, and it would make excellent accommodation.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the other big topics, of course, is the environment. We know that there's a global crisis as far as our environment goes, and the government has its quite ambitious targets. Is there anything more you feel as a parish you can do? For example, can you encourage more recycling?
We are encouraging more recycling. We'll be holding a parish meeting in the not too distant future to see if there's support for a green waste collection service within the parish of St Saviour. I've already agreed that in the States Assembly, so I would need that endorsed by parishioners if they would like to see green waste collection, so that obviously that they would have a separate bin for the green waste, and the team would come around and pick up the green waste and take it to La Colette. So, and there wouldn't be any additional charge for the dumping, but obviously the collection would come out of rates.
Okay, and following on those lines, I know it's difficult because obviously it's quite a built-up area, but is there anything more you feel you can do to encourage cyclists and walkers in St Saviour?
It's very, very difficult because I've been trying to encourage cycling all over the island. We're lucky that we inherited the old railway walk, if you like, from Corbière, and we've extended and improved that, so it's a shared space with pedestrians and cyclists. You can now cycle all the way through to the Lido after Bar, and I would like to extend that to the east of the island, also further inroads into town and obviously St Saviour. But because we are heavily congested, basically the island slopes from north to south, all the valleys come from north to south, and the hub is in St Helier, and we are outside of St Helier. So everything we do is a retrofit that we have to sort of fit in cycle lanes wherever we can, but we need to separate cyclists from motor vehicles so that everyone feels safe.
Okay, and I know we've sort of talked about some of the things that you'd like to do, like get a minibus and things like that. If you were to be elected, what would be the kind of first 3 things that you would absolutely try to do as soon as you got into office?
Oh, that's a very good question. As I say, bring the parish together would be one, because lots of people have got out of the habit of going to parish meetings because of lockdown, and get people out of their houses. So I've got a field in mind that we could be used for parish fetes and farmers market and such like. So I think we're off to a pretty good start.
Anything else you'd like to do? No? Just
well, another thing we need to sort out, obviously, is the traffic, which is pretty horrendous. When we were discussing the Bridging Island plan, I had a long chat with my colleague, the Environment Minister, and he agreed with my summing up of the situation regarding Five Oaks, and he's bringing forward the Five Oaks master plan, so that we need to alter possibly the roundabout at Five Oaks because it is a bottleneck. But you know, we need to try and get alternate routes for the traffic wherever possible.
Okay, and that kind of leads into the question that just come in. A recent Trinity consultation had 78% of respondents wanting green lanes introduced as a matter of urgency to provide safer routes for school children to get to school. With obviously St Saviour having 14 schools, would you seek to introduce green lanes in the parish to facilitate safer routes for children, as well as those obviously who want to enjoy walking, prams, horse riding, etc.?
Yes, in a word, yes. The island is in fact split in half, because there's only 2 parishes that do not have green lanes, that is St Saviour and Trinity, which is literally cutting the island in half. So if Trinity and St Saviour bring green lanes, that could bring the whole island together with a green lane scheme. But in selected lanes, of course, because we need to keep traffic moving, but there needs to be green lanes so that people can feel safe.
Thank you very much. Okay, you've survived the rapid fire questions. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody at home for tuning in to hear, of course, Kevin Lewis, who is the Connétable candidate for St Saviour. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for your questions. You can still register to vote if you haven't, but I'm sure you have, until midday tomorrow. And of course, anything else you need to do with the elections, you can find on vote.je, so you can get all the information there, and this will be on YouTube in a day or 2. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.